Hey guys, so I promised that I would have given you guys a little bit more update on my moving situation once I got a little bit more situated. So here's my update. For those of you who don't know, I recently relocated from the New York metropolitan area to the Atlanta metropolitan area. And I have to say it's been a little bit of a rocky start. At first, things didn't go the way I planned out. So here's my story. About March of 2021, my family and I decided that it was time for us to move. And of course, to our close family and friends, they've known for a while. We've been talking about it for at least 2 years now. I've been, back and forth in the Florida, Orlando market. So here's my story. Back in February, my family and I contracted the COVID-19. So we were quarantined for 14 days, as you know, and my recovery was a little bit slower than theirs, to say the least. I had, it wasn't crazy complications, but I basically experienced every single one of those symptoms. During quarantine, because we were locked in the house for what seemed like an endless amount of time, we discussed moving finally, and what it would be like. So we talked about the different places that we were interested in and what the cost of living in those places would look like. So we came up with a plan. Our plan was that we were going to finish out the school year for our kids since they were doing remote learning. And by the time September rolled around, we would have moved, settled in, found our place, and our kids will be registered in their new town, whether it be Fort Lauderdale or Orlando. So my husband went back to work. Once he went back to work, he's like, "Hey, hon, I just found out they're opening the slots for transfer. Should I put in for my transfer now?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's put in for the transfer now. By the time June rolls around, they'll probably be calling us, and then we can start looking for a home. And we'll take the summer and look for the house, and the kids will be settled in by August, right? Or August, September." Well, we put that in, and here's how that went. So we sat together and we went over all the places on that list that we wanted to move to. Of course, Fort Lauderdale was number one. Orlando wasn't on the list, and there was Tampa Bay. And just for good effort, just because they had another slot open, we put in Atlanta, Georgia. So we put in for the transfer, and we went about our day, went about the week. Getting back into the swing of things. This is now March, and my recovery from COVID is going well. I still had some lingering symptoms, and we are just like, all right, let's start, getting our plan into action, get back out there and working. And we got a call 1 week later. First phone call came in. It was Fort Lauderdale. They wanted us to report to work. Well, not us. They wanted him to report to work right away in 2 weeks. And we're like, 2 weeks? 2 weeks is not enough time. I still don't have my license in Florida yet. I'm doing my classes online. And I don't want to go into a new market without having my license. I want to be able to be ready to work. For those of you that don't know, there are 2 ways to get your license. If you are already licensed, you have to do the classes all over again in another state. Or if your state offers reciprocity with the current state you're in, then you don't have to do the exam all over again. You have to do your licensing fee, if approved. Then you have to do some continuing ed as well to make sure that you are up to par with the rules, regulations, guidelines in that other state. So now that they've called us for Fort Lauderdale, we realize that we are not ready. We are not ready because I don't have my license, number one. And number two, the time frame in which they want him to report to work, that just wasn't going to work because our kids were still in school and I didn't want to pull them out in the middle of the school year. So, things just went crazy and we were like, I guess this is not the right time. And my tip to you guys, when you pray to God and ask for something, be ready for what you ask for because he's going to give you just that. So now we have to tell them no, and I got to go back to work, and I'm a little bit depressed because I'm like, oh my God, this is our opportunity. So went back to work, and a couple of days later, my husband now had another conversation. He was like, hey babe, I think we missed our opportunity. If they call us for Georgia, I'm going to take it because I just don't want to be in New York anymore, and I know you don't want to be here anymore either. So we both agreed and we went about our day because we figured they're not just going to call. But I'm like, all right, I'm going to continue to work towards our goal because by the end of 2021, I am out. I am over the snow. I've had it. In the interim of all this, guys, just to let you know, I had already spoke to a good friend of mine who notified me that, hey, there might be a fast way for you to get your license. You can get reciprocity with Georgia. You get reciprocity with Georgia. Georgia get reciprocity with Florida. So I was like, okay, great. I am going to apply for my Georgia license and get reciprocity and then get reciprocity with Florida because it doesn't hurt to have multiple licenses anyway. And I'm always doing referrals. Okay, so now I am researching how to get my license in Atlanta. I've downloaded the documents, sent out my request for my certified license history as per what Georgia requested, and we're off to the races. Guess what? We got another call, and this time the call was for Georgia. And my husband calls me up and he goes, we got the call. So he says, hey hun, guess what? They called me for Atlanta. What do you think I should do? Do you think we should take it? I said, you know what? Let's take it. We might not have another opportunity like this. And worst case scenario, we are only 5 hours from Orlando where I really want to be anyway. So, this could be a little transition for us. We'll stay there about 1-2 years, see how everything is going. And if I don't like it, I'm out. So I could be closer to my beach like I wanted anyway. Ooh. Here we go. We accepted. And they're like, great, you accepted. You have to be at work in 2 weeks. And we're like, what? 2 weeks? We weren't planning on moving until June. So we both agreed that I would stay in New York until June. And he would go down and he will, we'll do home shopping that way. He'll go out, he'll take a look. And if anything happens, then I'll fly down and come down and take a look and see if it's really what we wanted. And here's how the process went. So he moved in the middle towards the end of March. And he was shopping for homes. As the realtor, I'm doing the search, sending him the possibilities of what I'm looking for. And I would make sure that it was close to his job. And I figured it doesn't matter for me because I'm a realtor anyway, so I'll be driving to wherever I need to go. So that's how that part went. We started home shopping and oh my God. Guys, I am so sorry. For all my customers that I've ever had to deliver bad news to say your offer has not been accepted or your application for rental has not been accepted, I am so sorry because that feeling of rejection, it is so hard and gut-wrenching and it's like a punch to the stomach. I am not good at rejection at all. At all. And some people might say, hey, you're a realtor. What do you mean you're not good with rejection? I did not realize how personal I took hearing the answer no. To an extent, I did, because when it comes to my customers, I get very protective, especially if they've been looking for a while and we've been working hard. And I just know that this is the house. You know, I've been a little bullheaded. I'll push. That's what they want. I'm going to push. Now, fast forward, the shoes on the other foot. I'm looking for myself. So we put an offer on a couple properties. There was one that I just absolutely fell in love with. I flew down, we took a look at it, along with this property that we're currently living in. And this house was in Norcross. It was in a gorgeous subdivision. It was a townhouse. And there were floor to ceiling windows towards the back area where the kitchen was. Gorgeous hardwood floors. It was dark hardwood floors. A foyer when you walk in. It was just it. Now, hearing no for the last couple weeks did not hit me as hard as that no hit me. That one, I cried. I was like, oh my God, that was the house. That was the house. And by this time, I've heard so many times that I was like, if I don't hear no, the answer yes, I'm over it. I am just over it. We're not going anywhere, or we're gonna wait till June like we planned, and you're gonna stay there by yourself. If you have to, you'll just have to fly back and forth. So by the end of that week, after hearing the no's, especially on that property, I got a yes. We got a yes. And we're like, okay, this is it. And we're like, once everything is done, paperwork is done, if it happens before June, I guess we'll be moving, because it doesn't make any sense. I stay here and pay rent here and have to do, pay bills there. It was just too much. So after we got our yes, and once we found out what our deadline and everything was, I was like, oh, wow, we're moving, and we're moving before June. Around that time, New York State is now offering full enrollment for all kids, or in-person learning. I went from a mom that wanted to send my kids in person to a mom that was just making a decision, hey, we're gonna keep them remote, because now I have in the back of my mind that at least they can finish remote learning that way, and we can move and it won't upset their school scheduling. And we moved towards the end of the school year. We moved in the middle of May. Now, as for my license, I got the paperwork for my license for Georgia literally 2 days before my move. Got to Georgia, doing the paperwork, and they called me. So GREC, which is Georgia Real Estate Commission, called, and they said, hey, we got your application. Everything looks great except for one thing. That document that Albany sent to you with your certified license history is not what we're looking for. So I said, hey, what do you mean? They're like, well, it's missing a couple things. I was like, well, that's what they sent to me, is my certified license history. But I got to realize that over time that's two different terms. What Georgia considers your certified license history is not what New York State considers a certified license history. So for all my realtors out there, here is another tip for you. For anyone who's licensed in the state of New York, that form that's requesting your certified license history, or whether or not they want to know if you've passed your exam by school, etc., how you got your license, it's good for you to check all the boxes. Yes, you're paying $25 for each document, but just pay the $75, because every state is different in what they're requesting. And so that you don't get your lines crossed, you want to make sure that you're covered in every way possible. So now me getting my license was delayed. It was delayed because now I had to go back and get a document that's now going to take 6 weeks. 6 weeks. That just drove me crazy. And in the interim of waiting the 6 weeks, I now have customers, because I told a few of my customers that I was moving. I didn't make a public post or anything on social media, but I did notify a few people, hey, I'll be moving to Atlanta. If you're looking for a real estate agent, that would be me. I've already applied for my license. By the time I get there, I should have my license. That was the plan. That's not the way it went. Also, I still had deals that I was working on in New York. So I still had to close out those deals and still work with my customers here. So now I am going back and forth, calling New York. I think I was on the phone every morning with Albany, because you have to make sure you call within a certain amount window. And if you miss it, you have to wait till the next day. It took me such a long time to get them on the phone. And I also had my deals and my customers that I'm working with in New York. So I'm home shopping for them. I am communicating with my partner agents there. They're doing the showings for me, doing final walkthroughs for me. And that's how I was still able to get my work done. And I'm still able to get my work done in New York. Fast forward to moving day. Now we have to move. Here is my plan for moving day. So movers are supposed to arrive at 9 a.m. in the morning. We're all packed up. After they've packed up, I'm giving them about an hour and a half to get everything into the truck. Once they get everything in the truck, we're going to take a ride over to my son's school, because he is graduating this June. He is a senior and he needs to go and take his senior pictures. After that, then we're going to get on the road. We're going to stop over in Jersey and see grandma before we leave. We're going to stay the night, and then we're going to get on the road early in the morning and make that 13-hour trek down to Atlanta. That's not how the day went. That is not how the day went. Moving company was late. My children and I, yes, we're paying the movers, but we're like, okay, let's help so we can get this thing going faster. Moving company and movers did not arrive until about 10:30, almost 11 o'clock. By the time we were done getting everything out, which I don't understand how we accumulated so many things. Everything's on the truck. I turned to them. Now it's pouring rain. It's 12:30 going on 1 o'clock. I don't want to be in the rush hour traffic getting over to Jersey. And I turned to my son. I was like, you know what? The only reason why we waited so long and we delayed moving day to this day was just so you could take your pictures. But by this time, he was so exhausted. He was like, Ma, I just want to go. I just want to go. I don't care about the pictures. I'm hungry. I just want to go. And my youngest son, he's like, Mom, I just want to go. Let's just go. I'm ready to get out of here and go to our new house already. So now on our way out of New York, we decided that we're going to stop and have lunch together. Like I said, it was pouring rain that day. And we just went ahead and had lunch, called Grandma and said, hey, Grandma, we're on our way. And we headed over to Grandma's house, where I had one of our last meals in that house together. And we decided that we're going to sleep, because we're going to leave early in the morning around 4 a.m. to beat that DC traffic to drive down. And I'm driving down with children for 13 hours. We were up at the crack of dawn. And I didn't even have to wake my kids up that morning. They were so excited. All I said is, guys, it was time to go. And they were up at 3:30. Like, they were like, we're ready to go. Like, now. Got in the car, kissed Grandma bye, and we headed down the Jersey Turnpike. Guys, this was one of the longest drives ever. My first stop was for breakfast at about 9 a.m. right before we got into DC. Second stop was, now bless my little Mason. He's a little vlogger as well. He vlogged us whole way from moving day to Grandma's house to arrival to the new house. So I'll be plugging that in. Take a look at that quick little video. And our second stop was Virginia. The next stop after that was South Carolina. And then finally Georgia. That last trek, that last 1 hour was crazy. It was crazy. Okay, so before I go any further in this video, here's my house cleaning rule. These videos are based on my opinions and my experiences. Anything that I mention as a tip, please do your due diligence. Google is your best friend. And call the different towns, townships, etc. just to make sure that the information is verified. Thank you very much. Let's move on. Now we've arrived, and like I said, I got a call from Greg, and Now my license is on hold until I get the proper documents from New York. And in the interim, what I'm now doing is partnering with one of our very, very much so beautiful agent in EXP who partnered with me. What I had to do was refer her my deals so I can still do my deals here in Georgia, that is, and still work on my deals in New York at the same time. So thank you to all the realtors who helped during my transition. Chantel, thank you so much for accommodating me with my referrals. And thank you to the agents who helped on my home search journey as well. Now, I am in Georgia and I have my deals that are in my pipeline. So what we had to do was become very creative. My older son, he has braces. So we still didn't find a orthodontics in Georgia yet. So we literally travel once a month to go and get his braces adjusted. And because he cannot fly out the same day, because that's just too much stress on him, what we now do, or what I do, is I utilize my time very wisely. And here's how. So I've learned to utilize my time very well. I am still licensed in New York. That is one of my primary market. That's where I started out. I've been doing real estate there for the last 7 years. I cover the Queens and Long Island area. And now that I've relocated to Georgia, I cover the Atlanta metro area, mainly Henry County, just because that's the county that I live in. And of course, you guys feel free to find me on Instagram or Facebook at Cherie Sapp. And that was my plug. Now, let's finish the story. So every time my son goes to get his braces adjusted, we make sure that it is a great usage of time. For example, the first time we went back, I had closing. So I had to go do final walkthrough. I had to get his braces adjusted, and I did a couple showings. Then the second time we went back, again, showings, a walkthrough, braces adjusted, and because my partners and I decided that it was time to level up and start normalizing luxury, we switched the way that we do business, and we started a new form of marketing. So basically, for every month that we've been living in Georgia, every month I've been going back to New York. Here's another tip for anyone moving to Atlanta. If you're moving and you are keeping your car, and you've bought your car, whether it's been a recent purchase or a long time purchase, there is something called a not born here tax. So be prepared for that. And let me explain to you guys what that means. So the not born here tax is you're paying for the taxes on your car twice. So of course, when you close on your car, you pay New York state tax or whatever state tax that you pay when you close or when you purchase your car, right? When you get down to Atlanta to register your car, you also have to pay taxes here. They're going to request for a copy of your lease if your car is leased, because they want to see the actual amount that the car is worth. Or if you purchase a car, they want to see a copy of your purchase agreement. They're going to tax you based on the information that's on that document. So you're paying for your tax and your licenses. Do your due diligence, check it out on Google to see how that specific county works, or town or area or state that you're going to works. For those of you asking if I ever got my documents from New York that I needed, yes, I got my documents. I did get it 6 weeks later. So for the whole month of May, I wasn't licensed. Whole month of June, no license. Didn't get my license until the end of July. So I've officially been dual licensed for less than a month. I'm still learning the ropes, still learning the areas. I've gotten the highways down packed, because one thing you learn as a realtor is sometimes you gotta turn off your GPS. Get lost. Get lost so you can learn your way around. And that's what I've been doing. Another tip for all my viewers. I did not realize how much of a New Yorker I was until I moved out of New York. You know, they say fish don't know they miss water until you take them out. that's sort of the situation. So what we've been doing is we've been going out, exploring, learning the different areas, learning the attractions, learning what fits, learning what doesn't, trying to find my tribe. And what I've be doing on this YouTube channel is giving you guys an update on all my finds, all my areas, all the new construction, all the areas that I'm just like, deuces, I will not be here. I am out. I will be giving you all those updates, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. See you soon.